My name's Adam Monaco and I'm the Financial Controller for Hi-Tech Oils. With our national capacity, we can now service Australian companies nationwide. Of late, we have now expanded into the New Zealand market. Here at Hi-Tech Oils, we receive premium base oils and premium additive packs. Together, with our highly trained staff, we manufacture over 500 premium quality products. Hi-Tech Oils is Australian made and Australian owned.
On today's show, we head back to the Phillip Island Grand Prix circuit in Victoria for our continued Round 2 coverage of the Shannons Nationals, featuring the CAM's Jayco Australian Formula 4 Championship, the Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge and the Radical Australia Cup. Then we head back to Sydney Motorsport Park as we bring you all the major supports action from Round 2 of the Swan Super Series. This is Speedweek.
Hi everyone, welcome to the Phillip Island Grand Prix circuit for a special milestone in Shannons Nationals history, the 100th round of the series. The Nationals have come a long way since the very first round was held way back in March 2006 at Wakefield Park. As you can see, there's been some rain overnight, but it's certainly not going to dampen the spirits of the competitors this weekend. We're about to get underway with the Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge Australia presented by Pirelli. But before we do, here's Tony Shebeki, who's caught up with a sporting star of Olympic proportions.
Well, fantastic people you meet here around the track at the Shannons Nationals. Steve Hooker, Olympic gold medalist, of course, joins us. Steve, you're obviously here to see your mate Johnny Steff.
Yeah, it's been good to see Johnny race around. I'm here with my son Maxie as well. He actually goes to kindergarten with John's daughter Lola, so he's just excited as I was to see Johnny race around.
Are you much of a motor racing person?
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
I love getting out whenever I can. I've got good mates with a couple of the drivers, and so I always come out and support them when I get a chance. And whenever they give me a chance to jump in a car, I always take it as well. I love it myself.
John loves going fast. Were you surprised when he told you that he was going to get into motor racing?
No, not surprised at all. He loves a challenge. He's one of the most competitive people you'll ever meet. So, yeah, it's not surprised at all to see him in the car. He was good off the start today. He's always been quick out of the blocks though, John.
Yeah, he certainly has. Mate, thanks for coming along and look forward to seeing you around the day.
Yeah, no worries. Have a good one.
2 points the difference going into the third and final race of the weekend for round 2 of the Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge. It's Brenton Grove starting alongside Jordan Love. The two young guns of the series will fight it out for the round result. Well, before we get underway with race 3, here's what happened earlier this morning in race 2. Jordan Love started off pole by virtue of winning race 1 on Saturday, but Brenton Grove threw down the challenge right from the outset. And this would continue for at least half of the opening lap before all hell broke loose. We're on board with Grove coming out of Honda corner. He gets caught out by the slippery conditions briefly and allows Love to go through. That is until the young West Aussie understeers off at Siberia and goes front on into the tyre wall. Unbelievably, he was able to drive himself out of the gravel and resume the race, though in last place. Grove would assume the race lead and would then have to fend off Anthony Gilbertson, the Hallmark Homes entry, but he too would get caught out by the greasy track, would end up in the wrong direction, causing a bit of a headache for the rest of the field. Gilbertson would spin back around and resume, but a few corners later at MG he got caught out again and spun directly into the tyre wall and out of the race. All eyes would then be on Jordan Love as he managed to work his way back up from 16th place into the top 3 by the end of the race. It was an amazing effort for the Formula 4 star, who was churning out times up to 3 seconds faster than anyone else on a drying racetrack. He couldn't catch Grove though. He took his second win of the season from Love, with Brett Bolton home in a very strong third place. So here's the grid for the third and final race of the weekend. It's Grove and Love on the front row, only 2 points splitting them in the championship now, heading into the finale for the weekend. Bolton and John Caratinos share row 2. Ben Stack and Nick Carneros on row 3, with John Stephenson, Ross McGregor and the Morris brothers, Phil and John, rounding out the top 10. This is the scene. A repaired car on the front. We're underway and racing. And it's Love and Grove on the front row. The two young guns. Whoever finishes in front in this race will win the round. And it's Brent and Grove with a very good start on a dry track to lead the field down to turn 1. Love gets in behind. Bolton is third. Caratinos up to 4th place. Was really pleased with his drive through the field from the back in race 2. Ben Stack is next, then Carneros, Stephenson, McGregor and the Morris boys in 9th and 10th.
David Gregg gets away this time at the back of the field there, but it wasn't left standing, so he gets away and runs with the pack there. John Stephenson in the repair management car out of Zagami. Pretty strong midfield as well, covering the line there. Young Grovey, Ben Grove doing a good job there. He's got Jordan Love putting the car wherever he wants, and there's Phil Morris in the Motec car, midfield. Veteran of Victorian motorsport, still doing a very good job.
This is going to be a very big challenge for Brenton Grove. Young man out in front, and his race victories so far have come when Jordan Love has had some dramas. Start line crash at Sandown and off the road at lap 1 in race 2 earlier today. Now it's a straight fight. Love, his cold tyre pace has been extraordinary this weekend on Cole Pirelli, and he's done the business there around the outside at Lukey Heights. It gives him the inside run for MG. It's a great move. He grabs the lead, but he goes a bit deep. Grove with the over-under couldn't make it stick, and the Sonic car is now in front. And what a great move as well. Ever since practice on Friday, his cold tyre pace early in a run has been really, really strong. And he showed that in the opening lap of this race. The war for P3 continues. John Caratinos has gone past Bolton. Ben Stack looking to do the same in that 260 km/h run down towards turn 1. Ben can't get through. Bolton holds on to P4, but Johnny Caratinos has made himself work his way up to 3rd place and is on the podium.
I tell you what, if the 8-year-old race fan in front of you didn't enjoy that opening lap of that race with the Porsches out in front with these two young blokes going for it, and as Richard said, pace on cold tyres and bravery on cold tyres there with Jordan Love. That is impressive stuff. This is a guy that has got a good feel for the road underneath him and the tyre he's got and the package behind him, and that was an amazing opening lap, not just for those front two, this battle pack that's raging for 4th, 5th, 6th and 7th on the road. The 65 just putting the wheels off the back of the ripple strip there, so young Ben Stack needs to keep an eye on that. Don't need to do it when you've got John Morris ranging up behind you. Let me tell you, he'll remind you all the way to the end of the race that he's there.
John Morris works his way past Nick Carneros, so 6th and 7th place. Those two have been locked together for a lot of the weekend. Nick qualified really well. He finished on the podium at the opening round at Sandown in one of the races there. So a newcomer to GT3 Cup Challenge has got plenty of speed. Ben Stack just in front has been fast. There's Sam Shahin on the comeback trail looking down the inside of Phil Morris in the very bright Motec car. Wasn't able to get through. And Sam will be working his way through the field, as will Anthony Gilbertson, having started towards the back. How about this? This is P2 under pressure. John Caratinos is absolutely flying, and he's got to the rear bumper bar of Brenton Grove.
He's got a fast race car under him as Caratinos. Sunday race day, he charged from the back of the grid in the race earlier today, and this is a good charge at the back of young Grovey, who is driving very well. Very intelligent run for Brenton. The Grove car, a livery that is synonymous with Porsche racing here in Australia now. And now we've got a father and his son doing a really good job of it, but John Caratinos is not sitting back for this.
John was a bit frustrated after race 2. I came up to him afterwards and said, mate, great drive, brilliant job from the back of the field in dicey conditions. He said, yeah, I know, I was a bit frustrated because he let one car through. He thought he was a lap down, but he wasn't actually. It was Rob Woods who was at the back of the field. He said, I didn't think that was the position, and it turned out that it was. So he lost one spot that he didn't feel like he should have lost. So he was a bit frustrated, but I think he saw my argument that it was a really good drive from the back of the field in a repaired car after that unfortunate crash down at the Southern Loop yesterday with Johnny Morris. So really impressive. Fast guy, John Caratinos from Adelaide. He missed most of last season, didn't do any racing, took a year off to focus on the business, jumped back in the car at Sandown for round 1 and was fast from the outset. Talking about fast, a little bit of contact there. John Morris, he went around the outside of Benny Stack at the exit of MG. There was a little bit of contact as Stack tried to turn in to the side of the Motorsport Leasing Porsche, or maybe as Morris tried to turn out to open his line into turn 11. Either way, fair bump, play on, and that is a position change for 5th and 6th.
John Morris was setting himself up for that a lap earlier and perfected it 4.4 kilometres later, got through on him. You can see a weakness there. Our race leader, Jordan Love, though, has gone away with it. It's 4.6 seconds a lead, and we're only 3 laps into this 11-lapper. An out-and-out sprint. It's make a decision, and this is where we're seeing John Morris just make those split-second decisions, almost reactionary to what's happening in front of him, as he now comes up onto the back of Brett Bolton, who again had a ripping run this morning. John Morris has got a very, very fast car underneath him at the moment.
Yeah, so currently the car's in 3rd and 5th in race 3, started race 2 right at the very back of the field. So it's impressive how he and John Caratanos have worked their way through. Tell you what, this will be big. We saw it on the opening lap, but we know how good Jordan Love's cold tyre pace is. When everyone's up to temperature, it's a bit harder just to sail casually around the outside at Lukey Heights, but he almost did the job there. This is a very, very busy little battle pack. It's 4th, 5th, 6th and 7th. And John Stephenson behind them is actually catching them too in the Zagami Autosport car. He's running 8th. So we go back and have a look at this great fight for 2nd and 3rd. John Caratanos is getting really good drive out of turn 12. He showed the nose to Brenton Grove down at 1. He couldn't get through. Difficult to make a move there because it's such a fast entry. It's not a big braking zone. They're just stabbing the brakes very, very close before they get the car turned in. So not a renowned overtaking opportunity in a Cup car at turn 1, because they approach it so high and they brake so late for it. Maybe turn 4, but his drive out of the southern loop isn't quite so good. So he's struggling to get the thing stopped and pulled up any better than Brenton Grove in front. So that's the battle for 2nd. This is the battle for 4th. And it's a 4-car fight. It could be a 5 or 6-car fight soon, because these guys are all catching them down the inside. Anthony Gilbertson, he went a little bit too deep there. Ross McGregor had nowhere to go, was turned around.
And that steam out the front of that car is not what you want to see. That's right where the radiators are mounted there, and we won't see that car go too much further. Ross McGregor now raw fuel belting out of the back of that car.
Steam out of his ears, I reckon. He won't be real pleased about that. He came from a long way back, Anthony Gilbertson, desperate to make up some positions at the back of the field. And unfortunately, there was contact. The damage on the front of the Hallmark Homes car will probably be evidence enough that he wasn't alongside far enough to make that move. Ross turned in and got turned around. It's a shame. That was for 10th and 11th place. Here's Gilbertson under brakes, blue on blue car down the inside. Yeah, I don't think they'll look too fondly on that up in race control. Stephen Johnson, the driver standards observer, I can just imagine the conversation will be, well, unfortunately, Anthony had 2 wheels on the grass on the inside there. You were a long way off the road, and it was your front corner to Roscoe's rear corner. Probably penalty worthy.
Here's 2nd and 3rd again on the road. Johnny Caratanos hasn't been able to perfect the move. He keeps looking for it. There it is again. Shows his card. Looks down the inside. He's going to get pushed wide around Belinda's Terrace, and that's not the way you want to go. There really is only one line through that part of the track.
It's good racecraft from both of them there. Brenton gave him racing room. He knows he can't afford to throw away this race. He needs the championship points that go with 2nd or 3rd. Either or's good. Caratanos has got a DNF. He's not in contention for a round victory. Brenton Grove's got a spot on the podium to worry about. So he can afford to give him some room here if it looks like John is going to make a big move. And that was very hard but fair racing, I thought, through MG and into turn 11. Caratanos certainly telegraphing his intentions with a lunge down the inside.
So they got the car under him to take it up to Brenton, and I dare say once he worked his way back onto the back of the number 23, he'll have another go at it. We've still got 4 laps remaining in this journey. Here it is under brakes again. Brenton strong in the 23 into Honda.
It's still teeing off behind them, by the way. Morris back to 4th place. Ben Stack's been relegated to 6th, and Bolton's up to 5th. So they're just kicking on. It's great stuff. Here's John Stephenson and Sam Shahin. So this is a little bit further back, 8th and 9th on the road now. Both have had up and down weekends. This is the scrap of the year so far in GT3 Cup Challenge. It's been a couple of really good ones this round as well.
John Morris currently heading that up, and could change again. Brett Bolton, young Stack there as well. Nick Carneros involved.
Here we go again. Oh, gee. He was thinking about it.
Not a replay, just having another go a lap later.
He was thinking about going there, I think, Johnny K, but he managed to back out of it. He got it stopped, and there was just enough room for Brenton Grove to sweep across in front. I spoke to Brenton's mum, Tanya, before this race. Obviously, Stephen's wife, and not the calmest person watching Steve race during Carrera Cup races. Said, how are you dealing this weekend with both your son and your husband going car racing? Just had a grin and shook her head. And, not great, but battling through.
Most mums and wives there that don't have fingernails or they've got absolutely no weight left on them as they panic the whole weekend long.
I said, you need to go and find a corporate lounge and a nice Pinot Noir and chill out. It's a stressful life. The two Groves are having great fun racing at top-level Porsche racing in Australia. And I wonder if we see Brenton in Porsche Carrera Cup in the future. That'd be tremendous stuff.
I tell you what, you go racing together as a family, you stay together as a family. Johnsons and Richards come straight to mind.
Yeah, absolutely. The list goes on. So a little bit further back, John Morris has finally been able to get a break on the World Championship for P5. So he's moved away up in 4th place. Bolton's under pressure from Stack, Stephenson and Shahin with the old over-under at Honda. And it looked like Johnny Steff was able to get through. He wasn't, because Sam holds on for Siberia and will ultimately take that spot. So he gets 8th away, or will he?
That's experienced Porsche racer versus a very exuberant rookie out there at the moment.
It was, John's been really impressive, hasn't he? I tell you what, Sam was over the moon yesterday. He finished 4th in the Porsche Carrera Cup Australia Pro-Am race with Daniel Gaughan. And they start near the front. I like them for today's race. Pretty evenly matched as far as an AM driver goes with the rest of the field. Is Sam on raw speed. And Daniel Gaughan will be a pro starting against the AM, so that's going to be tremendous to watch. Here's this fight. By the way, Jordan Love is still the race leader. He's still in this race. He's just 12 seconds up the road. So wandering around on his own out in front, just punching out consistent 1 minute 34s now. He doesn't have to worry about any attack from behind. So the Quintus Sandalwood Sonic Motor Racing car is doing a very nice job. Car number 79, the young West Aussie, the graduate from Formula 4, terrific young talent. And hopefully we see him follow the ranks up through the Porsche pyramid here in Australia and maybe overseas. Carneros, so I reckon there might have been a little communication between front bumper bar and rear there. A little bit of debris flying. This is yet to tee off fully, this battle, but wow, it's been intense since lap 1.
John Morris has got away from them too now. He's clearing 4th with a big lock-up down into turn 4 this time. That won't do him any good, as these three are absolutely raging in battle.
This is the fight of the season of the Nationals so far. We've had 100 rounds of Shannons Nationals, 53 of the Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge. And as far as GT3 Cup goes, this is right up there with all the mid-pack battles we've seen over the years. This is tremendous stuff. Really good, hard, clean motor racing between some very enthusiastic racing car drivers.
We've seen some innovation with the GT3 Cup Challenge field as well. They've had night races at Malala, twilight races at Malala, and various different formats along the way.
Oh, Carneros down the inside at MG on Bolton. Gets it done. Stack's going to follow him through.
And then, of course, the Jim Richards Endurance Trophy, which is a mix in this season as well.
Which kicks off at Winton in just 2 weeks' time, so we're looking forward to that this Saturday afternoon. Those races have turned into impromptu twilight races when it's going to be dark, a bit earlier than we thought it would. We're looking forward to that. So much to look forward to in the GT3 Cup Challenge. Thanks to Pirelli for their ongoing support of this series. This is the battle for second. It's Brenton Grove holding out John Caratinos. John Morris 4th. What a drive through the field from the experienced Victorian. He's been very, very good today. This continues. So this is P5, 6 and 7 still going on, as intense as it was since lap 1. But I think Carneros has finally cleared them now.
Sam Shahin's in as well. He's logged onto the back as Morris has driven away from the front. Sam Shahin clocks on at the back.
What happens here? Watch Stack looking down the inside, struggling for rear brakes. This is where it tees off. Dives down the inside, gets through. Shahin goes past as well. Bolton was carted wide there. He had to take evasive action.
Hip and shoulder.
It was good. Oh, it was like a tackle. He's got a puncher. After a really promising performance by Bolton all weekend long. unfortunately hands off, and Brenton Grove back in front of Johnny Karatinos. So this scrap continues for second place.
Jordan Love must be just about to take the checker. There he is across the line. We saw him at the start. We've seen him at the finish. Takes the win there for Jordan Love.
And that's the round victory as well. First round win of his Porsche GT3 Cup career. Tell you what, P2 will be close. Karatinos looking down the inside. Who's got the most Porsche power? It's Grove by 0.08 of a second. He just gets home in second place. Jordan Love gets the race and the round. Brenton Grove was second. John Karatinos third, with John Morris in fourth, and Nick Carnaros and Ben Stack fifth and sixth. Sam Sheehan, John Stephenson, Michael O'Donnell and Phil Morris rounding out the top 10.
Yeah, definitely happy with that. We managed to be fastest in both practice and qualifying, which is a good way to start the weekend. And then race one, managed to come away with the win, and then made a bit of a mistake in race two, which really cost us, put it in the wall in lap one. But then we managed to fight back and have really good pace in the wet on the slick tyre, and managed to get second, which I was really happy about. Really, if we couldn't achieve that, that would have really stuffed up our weekend. And then to finish off the win in the last race, while having a bit of a gap, was definitely a good positive finish of the weekend.
So Jordan Love heads into the next round at Winton Motor Raceway with a slender 14-point lead over Brenton Grove, but there's still a long way to go as the season rolls on. We're off to a break, but don't go anywhere. The Radical Australia Cup is up next.